Hello everyone and welcome to Blackboard 101, the new online instructor edition. My name is Amy Peach. I'm the Director of Instructional Technology and I will be taking you through some of the tools and techniques that are commonly used for new online instructors in our Blackboard system at Fontbonne. First thing I want to point out to you toward the bottom here is my contact information. If at any point during the tutorial you get stuck or you're really not sure where to go, please don't hesitate to call or email. Either one of those systems, we have a link communication system, so if you leave a voicemail and I'm not in the office, I can actually get it through my email. So any one of those contact methods, whatever works for you, is perfectly fine by me. There are also going to be, you'll see some links in the various courses that you're working in at the end of every unit that will link up to my email also. So really don't suffer for anything, I would say more than maybe 3 or 4 minutes. If you're spending more time than that on it, just go ahead and give me a holler and we can kind of work through it. The first thing I'm going to do is just show you how to log into the Blackboard system. And you need to open up a browser, obviously, first. But what I did want to make one important note about the browsers. So you can see I've got Chrome here and I've got Firefox. What most people tend to have, however, let me see if I can pull this up. This is probably what you're looking at most of the time. You see this little blue E right up here? That's Internet Explorer. And that's a very common browser for people who are using a PC. It is not a good browser for Blackboard. So first things first, you want to make sure to get another browser on your machine. It's okay to have Internet Explorer on there if you run into some problems with another browser and you want to switch. By all means, keep it on as a backup, but generally speaking, it doesn't run all that well with Blackboard. So usually we recommend either Firefox or Chrome, and both of those, if you search for them, just do a basic search on the internet, you should be able to find the download link. They're totally free. If you are a Mac user, Safari tends to work very well with Blackboard too. I don't hear about too many issues with Safari either. So just make sure that you have, no matter which one you really prefer, have more than one available to you, because what happens is, let's say for example Chrome is going through an update, they may not have followed the same update rules as Blackboard. And so when they make a change, sometimes it takes Blackboard a little while to catch up to the changes that Chrome made. So if you find that something's just a little quirky or a little off, just abandon it, go try another browser, and then usually within a couple of days you can go back to the other one and everything is working just fine again. But for here I'm just going to go ahead and use Chrome since it's kind of my preferred browser. And I am going to first of all get into Blackboard, and you've probably seen that if you get on the Fontbonne website, there are links to everything. You really don't have to go there. If you just type out the URL here, which as you can see, it's bblearn.fontbonne.edu. If you just type that into your address bar here, then it's going to go ahead and take you directly to the login page. So you don't even need to worry about it, which is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. You should have your own username and password, but I'm going to go ahead and log in with a demo course just to show you what you should be seeing. So when you log in, you're going to see that there is just general information about your entire system. So if there were institutional announcements that are posted, they're going to be here. There's a little on-demand learning center. If at any time you are struggling with a different tool in Blackboard, that's a great place to go. But you'll also, most importantly, where most people go here is just through My Courses. So you can see there's a widget for it here, but also if you look up here and you click this tab, you're going to see your courses list there as well. Now the first thing you need to do is go into Blackboard 101, and that is the course where you are actually a student. So just realize that with these two courses that are going to be in your course list, the student view is going to be different, obviously, than the instructor view. But you need to go in here first as a student so that you can get an idea of what kind of information you need. Now you're going to see a general announcement page here kind of explaining the different aspects of Blackboard 101. And Blackboard 101 is just a kind of a quick, easy, these are all the different features. It runs from beginner to advanced. So if you check those different areas, there's phase 1, phase 2, common problems. It's great to browse around in there, but for your purpose of just getting your certificate so that you can teach online, the only area you need to go to is online teaching. That's it. Everything that you have and you need is going to be right in here. But like I said, definitely check these out after you get a little more comfortable and you can see some of the other features. So in here, you're going to see that there are a few different segments that you're going to have to learn. The first part is editing the content. And the reason that we start with editing rather than creating things from scratch is because in most circumstances you're not creating something from scratch. If you've just been assigned a course, the content has already been created for you, but you do need to understand how to edit and modify and change some of the items to make sure that it flows very well with your teaching style and with your objectives too. So if you look on editing content, you will see that there's a basic video kind of explaining how to edit all of the content, and then there are printable handouts here. So if you click on any one of these items, you can go ahead and access, for example, I'll go ahead and open this one. And this will give you a sort of basic how-to with some screenshots and some instructions, and you can print that out and keep it close by. If that helps you more than videos, then that's perfectly fine. You will also see in, oh, I'm sorry, let me show you the split screen here really quickly. So one of the things that some people like to do is look at the videos or look at the document and also look at their course at the same time. So you may have noticed that if you go into courses over here again, you've got your sandbox shell, and this is where you're going to have to do all of your works. So what you can do, and I'm going to try not to confuse you here if you've never done this before, a lot of people aren't aware that this is available. But let's say I'm back in my Blackboard 101 and I'm looking at these documents. Let me open this document back up again. Okay, I see this, but I don't want to print it out. I want to be able to look at it and do my work at the same time. So what I can do is actually open up, I'll just go ahead and open Firefox as a browser this time. I can open up a second window. I can go ahead and search for my course. And then when I go down, if I go down toward the bottom of my screen and I right click, I can see some different options. And if you're running from a Mac, you may not have this option, but I'm sure there is a way to do the split screen in Mac. But if you need direction on that, let me know, because I'd have to look around a little bit. But if you click down on that bottom bar where you see all of the different tasks that you're running, if you right click on that, you're going to see this menu, and this menu will show you the show windows side by side, show them stacked. If you click side by side, this is what you're going to see. And this is very, very handy actually, because if let's say I'm just looking at another course right now, but let's say I am in my course here. I know that there is some content that I need to edit. I needed to edit my content buttons over here. I can look over here to my right, see what I have to do, and then go over here and make my changes. So if I wanted to go to rename link and I'm following the directions here, I can go ahead and do that and not have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That can get a little bit frustrating. So that's just a tip as you're running through this process. But for right now, I don't need to do that. I just need to wander back through some of the content. So as you're looking at the video, you're keeping the printable handouts, realize that this is not the kind of thing that you can do once and, then it's not like taking a test. It's the sort of thing that you got to work your muscle memory a little bit. And the more that you do it and the more you practice it, the easier it's going to get. And you're not even going to have to think about it after a while. So when you go to this first segment, all the segments are going to work this way. You're going to have videos, you're going to have printable handouts, and then you have to go to your sandbox shell and try to make all of these adjustments. Okay? So that again is where this sort of split screen is helpful. So let me see if I can get another Chrome screen up here. And now I can see that. I'm going to go ahead and split my screen again. So windows side by side, and now that makes it a whole lot easier for me. Well, it should. All right. So if I'm going to go into my sandbox shell, you can see that at the end of the editing content, there are different things that you have to do. And so when I go into my course content, which is where I'm going to find these things, I can see that there's an editing content, a creating content, and a facilitating student learning section. So those segments I'm going to be able to see here. So just remember, when you go into your sandbox shell, go to course content, and that's where you're going to find this first part. So when I can see editing content, I already saw this video, I already read through it, I know what I'm doing. I go over to my sandbox, I open it up, and then I can see that these are the different things that I have to edit or adjust in some way. Okay, so again, I can keep this open, I can work over here. If you feel confident and you don't need to have the split screen, obviously that's perfectly fine. Okay, so there's the editing content area, there's creating new content, and for creating new content, there are a whole bunch of different videos that are available. Some of them are, there's one very basic one that I run, but then there are others that Blackboard has as well. So after you read through all that information and you understand it, again, it's go ahead and go to your sandbox shell and create the new content you just learned about. So I'll just go back over to my sandbox shell. I will go to part 2, creating new content, and then I can go ahead and create some of the new items that they just asked for. Okay. All right, and the last piece here, what I will say is for this section, you're going to notice that this is where it doesn't line up just right. So there is a section asking you to check your work. There are a couple different things you want to make sure that everything is accurate, and then you need to copy your course. And what you have to do then is this is actually an email link. So if you send me an email and say I'm all done with these sections, I need to copy this sandbox shell into a live shell. And the reason we call it sandbox and it's going to be a practice live shell is because that's exactly what you're going to do as an instructor. You will be given a sandbox shell, which is it's just exactly the way it sounds. It's a place for you to play, figure out your content, start working on it, make any adjustments you want to, and no students are going to see that, just you. So you can go ahead and work on it, do whatever you want, and then you copy it into your live shell, and your students are going to be in that live shell. So once you're all ready to go, then you can copy it over. But I have you emailing me first because I have to create that live shell for you, and I have to put some demo students in there who have done some of the work, because the last piece here is facilitating assessing student learning. And you will need to, there are some paper assignments in there are some discussion comments, and there will be some tests for you to grade with a rubric. So if you email me through this last section here, I'll create that new shell for you. I'll let you know everybody's in there, and then when you go into your courses area, you're going to see a third option that will say Practice Live Shell. And that's the one that you go into for facilitating and assisting the student learning section. And then, boom, you're all done. Just like that. Super easy, right? Okay, I know this is a little bit confusing right now. You may need to play around with it a little bit. You can't screw anything up here. So, whatever you do, if you, feel like you messed it up, or you want to redo it, or you want a new shell, or, this is just practice. This is a great, great place to fail. So try out, new things. If you get stuck with the directions, it's perfectly fine. Just give us a holler and we will talk you through it, okay? Good luck.